It's the most wonderful time of the year, but not for everyone. The holidays ratchet up the number of stress factors. According to the American Psychological Association, nearly 70% of people surveyed say they experience stress over lack of money and lack of time during the holidays. 51% feel stress over the pressure to give. Women in particular report higher levels of stress than men at this time of year. It could also be stressful for businesses. According to the Florida Retail Federation, holiday shopping accounts for up to 40% of some retailers' annual sales. So what's the best way to handle all this stress? Joining us for more on tonight's topic is Leslie Beth Wish, a licensed clinical psychotherapist, and Kevin Cooper, president and CEO of the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
How are we going to get through the next 2 months? It seems like we build up the holiday season so much from all these factors because unlike a birthday or an anniversary, we're all going through it together. So you see it not only in the stores, but also on the roads.
Well, it's too much. You know, it's supposed to be a happy time, but there's too much traffic. There's not enough time. That was mentioned in your clip.
She brought props.
All right. This is what happens. You schedule your time, and look what happens. It goes too fast, and you begin to feel like you've lost control. And the other thing that begins to happen, we've talked about this, and your clip had that too, you end up spending too much money. You've procrastinated, you're stuck at the last minute just grabbing something that ends up being more money, and you're left with not even enough money to go to Starbucks, okay? That won't get you anything. So why does this happen? All these things are related to one issue.
Kevin, where are your props?
I am the prop.
You know, as I tell you, the one prop that really kind of hit me is what was in Adam's story, and that we just reported that up to 40% of annual sales for retailers are tied to the holiday season, which I would imagine puts the people who are managing those companies or owning them under a huge amount of stress.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at the quarter that stretches from November to January, so think of the pre-holiday sales and then kind of that post-holiday downflow, you have a lot of anxiety leading up to that point, especially when you have a big nut to crack of that 20 to 40% range you were talking about. So being able to capture all of the consumers' attention leading up to that time period, making sure you're maximizing sales during the time period that you're hitting those goals can be very stressful, but can also be very rewarding as it plays out.
You know, every year it's different. I believe at the end of last year that it was very hard for area retailers to make their marks. What are you hearing in terms of going into this holiday season?
You know, it's interesting. Earlier on in the year, analysts were predicting a pretty strong retail holiday season. All the headline benchmarks were there. Stronger hiring, wage growth, credit utilization, consumer confidence. Everything was trending towards a pretty strong retail holiday season. And then, like we do every 4 years, we had a presidential election cycle. And oftentimes those can shake consumer confidence. And I think this election cycle, more so than many in the past, shook confidence to a different core than we'd seen. So the timing might be a little off this retail holiday season as people are kind of recovering from a lot of the uncertainty created by a very media-profound, tumultuous election cycle.
And it's not just businesses affected in that way, it's personal relationships. I know friends who have had a lot of stress in their relationships. I know husbands and wives who have had stresses because of the election, and now we're going into the holiday season compounding that.
Particularly if in your family you have different positions politically, socially, as to what happened and what to do about it. And so here you are spending all your time, all your money, and what is it for? It's to have a good, happy feeling in your family. And now you have a situation where maybe you're not sure what the conversation's going to become and what you're going to do to handle it.
Because in many of us, travel for the holidays, or we have family coming here, and it makes almost not an ordinary situation. It's not, you know, when you put that kind of pressure on any kind of interpersonal relationship, under that kind of stress with everything else, you know, it's asking for trouble in some cases.
You arrive at your destination, let's say you're traveling. We were talking about this before. Airports are more crowded, your flight's delayed, it's the weather delays, it's screaming children, things don't go as well, the traffic is awful, you can't find a parking space, you've spent too much money, you've already eaten too much because you're in the airport and you're buying junk food, or in the car driving somewhere and there's no great places to eat that have some kind of temptation. So the whole journey, the whole process, and again, trying to find find, as was mentioned in that clip, something perfect, a perfect gift.
Kevin, I'm going to ask you this briefly because we have to go to a commercial, but are area businesses prepared in terms of the amount of people coming into the area and staying here, because obviously we are a destination?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of businesses deal with the cyclical nature of what they do, and our retail businesses are no different. We understand the seasonal nature of folks that come down, the snowbirds, so to speak, of what they do during the season and people that are traveling. So I think it's something we've seen play out year over year, so we're always prepared.
Okay, we are just getting started. We have much more to discuss here on our roundtable, but when we return, we'll bring you a look at your forecast. Welcome back. The holidays are here, and that could mean extra stress for many people, and our guests join us now for final thoughts on how to manage it all. And here's a really interesting topic that we've been talking about for two different reasons, and that is gift cards, because it's become such a staple for retailers, and it also solves a lot of problems when you're dealing with the family member who you have no idea what to buy.
You know, a lot of people diss gift cards. They think it's too impersonal. I would love gift cards to my favorite stores, but my friends and family know what my favorite stores are. So instead of walking into Walgreens and pulling something off the shelf that, you know, from one of the retailer cards that they have, find out in advance what stores someone likes to shop at, and then it becomes more personalized. Hey, I know you like this particular men's store, and I got you a gift card to that men's store, as opposed to just picking any old card that is available. So I think that makes it a lot easier. You don't go as crazy looking for the perfect sweater, the perfect this, and hope and cross your fingers that it works for them. So I'm actually a big fan of gift cards.
How big a role does that play in local businesses? Because, you know, you go into Publix or the bookstore or many major retailers, there are sections you could go to buy gift cards, but that doesn't, you know, they don't include gift cards for local restaurants and so forth. So, you know, what do local companies have in terms of their ability to get this out there?
Yeah, gift cards are great, but also gift certificates are a great option. We forget about the older gift certificates that are still available, and they're a great option for any business. You know, a lot of the statistics show that most users who get a gift certificate end up spending a little bit more money than the gift certificate allows for. You might spend 20, 30, 40% more than the gift certificate or gift card is purchased for while you're there for your experience, whether it be restaurant or retail or whatever you're doing. So gift cards are a really great option to introduce a consumer to a place for the first time, but also when they come in, they end up spending a little bit more on average than just the gift card allows for. So it's a great option for businesses, and it's been a very strong part of the retail holiday seasons.
LB, you have a number of suggestions for people in terms of how to handle this time of year. What would they be?
Well, instead of worrying about how you can win that prize, how you can feel the love from your family and finally be seen as a good person and a valued person, here's a better goal, and I mentioned this at the other segment. Change the perception as to how your family views you. Because when you go back to visit your family, you go way back. You go to when you were a little child, sibling rivalry, not being the favorite or being the one who didn't get the family business. So here's what you can do. Plan ahead. I love writing old-fashioned letters. What you can do, and it's not too late because you can bring letters with you, write a little note to every person. Say just something nice about them. I'm excited to hear about your school play to the young children. Or when you heard that, you know, Aunt Dora had a great recovery from her broken knee. Something nice. That automatically changes their perception of you and gets you much closer to feeling the love. The other things you can do is bring a bowl or a bucket. I brought this bucket. Have everyone write down and help the kids write something nice to say about someone and write their name on the back. You put the names in the bucket, fold them over, and each one goes around the table and draws out the card and reads it. And because you started that, you get the credit.
And Kevin, I'll give you the final word. All the retailers out there, are their store shelves stocked, or are they all set with their employees? Are we ready for the onslaught of shopping?
Yeah, no doubt. They've trained their seasonal employees. The stores are stocked. They're ready for their sales, and they're ready to see everyone come out with a renewed sense of confidence for this holiday season, and not to win the prize, but to come out and enjoy the festival spirit of giving.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to leave it there. I want to thank you both for being here tonight. Leslie Beth Wish is a licensed clinical psychotherapist, and Kevin Cooper is the president and CEO of the Sarasota County Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank you. Hope you both have a stress-free holiday. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weekend weather.